Good morning, children. Welcome to the online classes. Today, let me discuss some inventions. Before going to the lesson, let me know about the uses of the inventions. Okay. You know the electricity. If we don't get the electricity, so we have to stay in the dark during night, is it? So without thermometer, we cannot measure our temperature. Is it, children? Yes, definitely. So do you know who invented thermometer? Thermometer is invented by Galileo. Who invented thermometer? Galileo. Why? To measure the temperature of a person. Yes, like we have to list out the inventors who invented telephone, who invented computer, who invented bicycle, then who invented medicines, and who invented plastic materials. So, like the lighthouse is also invented by. So, suddenly we didn't get the lighthouse. Gradually it developed. Gradually the lighthouse is developed. So, listen children, before going to the lesson, I have listed out some new words from the lesson. Let me see. Meaning for new words. Meaning for new words. First one, thrilled. What's the spelling of thrilled, children? Yes, T-H-R-I-L-L-E-D. Thrilled means excited. What's the meaning of thrilled? Excited. So, the second one, sailor. What's the meaning of sailor, children? One who travels in the sea. In the sea. So then, shore. S-H-O-R-E, shore, means land next to the sea. It is called seashore also. What it is called, children? Seashore. Okay? I think you have understood the new words. Thrilled means excited. Sailor, one who travels in the sea. Shore, land next to the sea. Shore, seashore it is called. Seashore. Okay children, I will read the lesson. You have to watch your textbook. Okay? Now let's read the lesson on the invention and uses of the lighthouse. Rajiv and his father Mahadev were very happy that day. Rajiv was especially thrilled because his father would take him out on a visit to the lighthouse. They started out in the evening by 5 p.m. and reached the shore by 6 p.m. Mahadev pointed out the lighthouse in the distance. It was tall, strong, built in a shape of a tower with powerful lights at the top. Rajiv asked his father, Papa, what is the use of these lighthouses? Mahadev said, they help the sailors to know where the land is and what place they are near. Sometimes they are on the seashore and sometimes in the sea. They are in places which are dangerous to ships and they help to warn and guide the sailors. Rajiv was curious. He said, but how do they work? Mahadev replied, modern lighthouses use powerful electric lights. Rajiv asked, but what about those days when there were no electricity? Mahadev laughed. You are a clever boy, my son. In olden days, wood fires would be light in the places on the shore. Later, a large number of candles were used with glass around them to keep out the wind. You know, Rajiv, in those days before lighthouses were built, sailors who got lost in the sea had no way of getting back to land. They also had the danger of dashing against high rocks in the darkness in the sea or being unable to see which was a safe place to land. These lighthouses guided them to safety. Rajan asked, Papa, when was the first lighthouse built? I don't know, my son, Mahadev replied, but I believe that in the olden days many of fishermen were lost in the sea and were unable to return home. The people on the land were worried and yet helpless to guide them. Then a group of clever young men hit upon this idea. They collected a few huge logs and loads of dry branches and set fire to them. They were laughed at the elders, but they continued to keep the fire burning. In the early hours of the next morning, the fishermen sailed home safely. They said that they had seen guided from the land and saved only because of the light of this fire, which they had seen from a distance. Rajiv exclaimed, how clever of the humans! Mahadev said, yes, now shall we go home after you have your favorite ice cream? Rajiv said, oh, yes, Papa, thank you. Yes, children, now let me summarize the lesson. Okay, what is the meaning of invention? What is the, once again, I will tell you, what is the meaning of invention? Invention means discover. Discover. What's the meaning of invention, children? Discover. Okay. Now, let's know how the lighthouses form. So one day, Rajiv and his father were very happy. Rajiv was especially thrilled. Why he was thrilled? Because his father would take him to visit the lighthouse. Visit the lighthouse. So here is a lighthouse in the textbook. You can watch it. So, and I will send a video also for how the lighthouses around the world. I will send this through WhatsApp. Okay, you can watch and tell me. Okay, children? Yes. So, Raju and his father Mahadev, they started out in the evening by 5 p.m. and they have reached the seashore by 6 p.m. Mahadev pointed out the lighthouse in a far distance. Distance means far from the place. How was the lighthouse? It was tall. How was the lighthouse, children? It was tall and strong. Do you know what is the opposite of tall? Short. What is the opposite of tall, children? Yes, you are correct. Short. So, and what is the opposite of strong? Strong. Opposite of strong is weak or important. Important. What is the opposite of, what is the atoms of strong, children? Important or weak or weak. So how was the lighthouse, children? It was tall, strong, building in the shape of a tower with powerful lights at the top. So how was the lighthouse, children? It was tall and strong. At the top of the lighthouse, we have seen a powerful lights. Raju asked his father. He asked, Papa, what is the use of these lighthouses? What should we use? What is the use of these lighthouses? His father said, the lighthouses help the sailor to know the lands. Where is the lands? Where they have to reach. And in which place they have to reach. And where they are near. In which place they are near. Sometimes they are on the seashore. And sometimes they are in the sea. For all these things, they can easily find out by the help of the lighthouse. So, they are in place which are dangerous to ships. So, sometimes they have in the seas, in the middle of the seas, they have to face some dangerous. So, like rocks, big rocks. So, in the dark, they couldn't find out the rocks, isn't it? By the help of the lighthouse, they can know, yes, that is the large rock. They have to avoid, is it? There are some dangerous in the place. So, the ships, by the help of the lighthouse, the sailor can avoid the dangers. So, Raju was very curious. He asked his father, but how do they work? How do the lighthouses work? So, Raju's father replied, so in the modern days, the lighthouses work with the powerful lights, with the powerful electric lights. Again Raju asked, but what about those days when there was no electricity? Okay, father, now we have the electricity facility. So what about the past? What about the olden days? How they helped the sailor? Mahadev, he laughed himself and he said, you are too clever, my son. You are too clever. Okay? In olden days, wood fires would be light in the places on the seashore. So not in the middle of the sea. On the seashore, the woods fires. The woods fires. Later, a large number of candles were used instead of the woods. So then, Raju again he asked his father, in those olden days, before lighthouses were built, sailors who got lost the sea had no way of getting back to land. Why? Because especially in the dark. They don't have any guidelines, no. So we couldn't get back the seas to land. From seas to land. They also had danger of dashing against the high rocks. Already I told to you, in the dark, sometimes without the light, they have to dash the rocks. So it is unable to see. Why? Because they don't have the lights, isn't it, in the dark. So it was happened in the past. So and they couldn't reach safely to the land. So these lighthouses were built to help the sailors. So these lighthouses guided them to reach safely to the seashore. Guided means what, children? Guidelines, ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನ. The lighthouses ಅವರಿಗೆ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನವನ್ನು ಅಂದರೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದರ ಬೆಳಕನ್ನು ಚೆಲ್ಲೋದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ ಅವರಿಗೆ ದಾರಿಯನ್ನು ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಸೇಫ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಸುರಕ್ಷಿತವಾಗಿ ಹೇಗೆ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಗೆ ರೀಚ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಸೊ ಅಗೇನ್ ರಾಜೀವ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ಡ್ ಹಿಸ್ ಫಾದರ್, ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ ಲೈಟ್ ಹೌಸಸ್ ಬಿಲ್ಟ್? ಯಾವಾಗ ಈ ಲೈಟ್ ಹೌಸಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬಿಲ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಾಯಿತು? I don't know, my son, he said. I don't know when it was built, but I believe that in the olden days many fishermen were lost. So here, children, I will. What is the present form of lost? Lost itself a past tense form. Lost. What is the present form? So opposite lost, found. Is it? What's the meaning of lost? Gain. Okay. Lose. Lost, lose. So, in olden days, many fishermen, they were not lost in the sea. They were lost in the sea. And were they unable to reach the home, back to the seashore. The people on the land were worried. The people were worried. And it means argue. They were helpless. Why? Because they were lost in the sea. They couldn't have any ways to search back them to the land, seashore. So, by all these problems, they took some remedies. How? Like they collected some huge logs. Huge means very big logs. Logs means, do you know the meaning of logs, children? Yes, in Kannada we are telling marada dinnegalu. Marada dinnegalu. And lots of dry branches. So collectively they are firing the logs and the branches. The whole night it started burning. By the help of that light, the sailors sailed in the seas. They were laughed at by the elders by doing all these things. But they continued to keep the burning whole night. In the early hours, the next morning, they have to keep burning the logs. The fisherman said home. By doing all these things, the fisherman back to the home. They said that they had been guided from the land and saved only because of the light of this fire. The sailors, the fishermen, they says their opinions by the help of the fire. They back to the home, they back to the seashore, and they saved their life because of only the burning logs, burning the lights by the logs, woods, which they had seen from far distance. Rajiv was exclaimed, exuberant. How clever the humans are, father! How clever! Mahadev said, yes, my dear, yes. Now, shall we go home? After having ice creams. Ice cream is your favorite one, no? Okay, I will buy ice cream for you. After having ice cream, we both of you go home. Okay? Raju said, yes, Papa. Thank you. Thank you for know about the lighthouse. So, here we have some points, children. What is the meaning of trip? Trip means a short visit from a distance place. Trip means what? A short visit to a distance place. Journey means going from one place to another place over a long distance. Have you understood the difference between trip and journey? So trip means a short visit place. Journey means going from one place to another place. Travel means to go from one place to another place. Then like voyages means, children, it is a long journey by the sea or air. Voyages means what? A long journey by a sea or air. Okay, children? I hope you will understood the lesson. So, who was very curious in the lesson? Who was very thrilled? Yes, I got it. Rajiv. Rajiv was very curious. Who went to visit the lighthouse? Yes, Rajiv and his father. Okay, children, I hope you will understood the lesson very well. If you have any doubts, you can call me. I will clear your doubts. So, you have the homework, like you have to read and write the words meaning, then opposite words, then past and present tense. Okay? 3 times. Afterwards, you have to read the lesson and write 1 time. Then answer the questions given in the exercise. Okay? If you have any doubts, call me. Okay? Once again, I hope